today I will read Genesis chapter 39. In 38 it was a bit different than 37, a different story, a story of Judah, but in 39 it continued the chapter 37, and let's read it. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. So, were they Midianites or Ishmaelites? Because sometimes it says Midianites, sometimes Ishmaelites, or maybe both. Who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. If God is with you, is it an absolute thing that your everything you do to have success? It depends on case, and sometimes God is testing you, is to make you to be more efficient, more perfect. Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted it to his care everything he owned. Wow. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all of that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So he left in Joseph's care everything he had. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Wow. So he was like just the supervisor of Joseph. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. Wow. So, and after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me." But he refused. "With me in charge," he told her, "my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. What would you do in this case? Let's continue reading. One day he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had run out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us." Sport of us, wow. He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house. She kept his cloak beside her until his master came home. Then she told him this story. That Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to make sport with me, sport of me. To make sport, wow. But as soon as I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house. When his master heard the story, his wife told him, saying, "This is how your slave treated me." He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. So what would you do in that case? A thing must be based on more than just one person. Even if that one person is your wife. It was a case that is a difficult one, but how could he believe his wife? Didn't he trusted that to that servant, to the Joseph, even he gave everything he owned in his supervising, or how can I say, but while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison. Again, in charge of... and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. So, God was with him, and he succeeded in everything what he did. But look what happened. Was God there anymore with him? Yeah, it was. So how could such a thing happen? It's a story based on lies, on Joseph is the victim, and Joseph was very strong. I mean, what would you do in that situation? He left his cloak and was running away to make no scene. What if he did that sooner or later would be discovered and would be worse even in God's eyes? He showed him kindness, God, because he respected God's laws. May the God make us strong as he was in that subject, and Uh, that was the chapter. Joseph was away from family, and even if God took care of him, but now look what happened. He was in prison, but even if in prison he was in charge of everything, but still. How would you feel in his skin? We will see in next chapter what will happen, and yeah, may the God bless me and enlighten me, and if he wants, you will see me in the next chapter too. God bless you all. Goodbye.